What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of In the Longhouse with Beard of the North. Hope you're all having a good Friday night. And my guest, Nick from Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff. That's a whole mouthful of shit to say for a beard company.
A whole mouthful. It's a lot of words all at once.
How are you doing tonight, Nick?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It's Friday. It's good. And the weather's nice. Had one of those rare days where I actually kind of got to focus on some creative stuff, doing some content stuff and video and some other stuff just focused on Dr. Nick's, which was cool. You know, I usually kind of have to weave my time in and out, but today was one of those days. I got to stay kind of focused. It was nice. So good one overall.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you've had a good day. It's been pretty mediocre day for me.
Yeah, how's it out there in Minnesota?
Actually, it was cold today. We're in the faux spring era where it gets really hot for a while and then it dips into the 30s and then it just kind of fluctuates till it plateaus.
You know, it's been like it is kind of here. It's been weird. I think we're kind of at that same, latitude or longitude, right? Yeah. Longitude, latitude.
One of them.
Yeah. We're at one of those and we're really similar. So I think we're getting like the jetways just like really low. The jet streams, like, I don't know. It's like pulling all this cold Canadian air down here.
Yep. And yesterday, because of the forest fires that they're having up there, we got these fucking alerts saying don't go outside because the air is horrible even for people with healthy lungs.
The fog smoke.
And I definitely don't have healthy lungs, so.
I first saw a warning about that one time when I lived down in Georgia, and I saw like a highway sign, and it said, caution, heavy fog smoke. And I was like, someone typed that wrong at the highway department. That's supposed to say smoke fog. No, turns out it actually is a term, and I was just completely uneducated.
Completely uneducated.
Go figure.
You learn, you live, you learn type of stuff,
You do.
Oh.
That's what we're doing every day, It's saving the world one hard lesson at a time.
Yeah, right. Shit. Should we say hi to some of the people that are in the chat?
I'm seeing all kinds of friends in here, man. This is great. Seeing a bunch of new people that are your friends and seeing a bunch of familiar faces. This is awesome.
This is awesome, Ellie. Awesome. I love it. Oh, how you doing, Mike? How's it going, sir?
What's up, Mike? What's up, Ellie?
Nicholas. Oh, Mark. How you doing, sir?
What is up?
Hi, Jill. I know you're in the same room, but hi.
She found a couch. She's not at the other side of the desk like she usually is for these. No, it's 10. She's comfy.
Comfy. Yeah. Kind of like, this is my wife. She's sitting up on the couch. How you doing, Mike? Good to see you, sir. Yeah, fuck you too, Vato. Oh, how you doing, Chris? Donald, good to see you, sir. Excuse me.
Man.
E-Beard, how you doing, sir?
Man,
what else we got?
All kinds of familiar faces here. It's like we all hang out with the same people and into the same kind of stuff or something.
I know, right? I know. Sometimes I just see all the same people in the same things. Different streams, same people. How you doing, Tyson?
There we go.
Let's see. Who else do we got? I'll try to stay caught up on comments. How you doing, Chris? Lots of Chris's.
It's like the story of my life. Every business partner I have is either named Chris, Paul, or Tom. And I'm not even kidding. There's like 3 of each of them. I'll start talking about one of them. I can only use last names because Jill has no idea which one I'm talking about. Well, sometimes she does based on the context, but
depending on what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How you doing, Walter? Good to see you, sir. And I think I'm pretty much caught up on everybody for the most part. Beardo Weirdo, how you doing, sir? You're new. Thanks for stopping in, man.
Weirdo is Dennis.
Oh, that's Dennis. What's up, Dennis? Hey, thanks for stopping by, man. He has my mountain bike and my son's mountain bike right now at his shop down in Plymouth. I got to go actually see Dennis tomorrow and pick those up.
Nice. I guess you're just
Solid
doing
dude.
some maintenance work on it.
Yeah, my son's bike, he's 10. So, little flat spots from where he just constantly slides to a stop on pavement, on mud tires. And, just all the normal abuse you get pretending to ride a motorcycle and rip your grips in half kind of thing. All the stuff you did when you were 10.
The stuff, yeah.
You see all these things happen and you're like, why did you do? Oh, okay. Well, no, that actually makes a lot of sense. I did that.
I can't really say nothing because I did the same shit when I was your age. So I get it. How you doing, Jason?
So many lessons you can teach without feeling like a hypocrite.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes with our daughter, Becky and I kind of get into it a little bit sometimes where it's, well, I did this when I was this age, so I can't really say anything. And she's like, well, I didn't, so I, like smoking weed, or drinking at an inappropriate age. It's like, well, I know she's going to do it.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things. And I can't really be hypocritical. I can't get mad about it. And she's like, well, I can because I didn't do it.
Hey, there you go. You got like the good cop, bad cop thing going on there. That's always really effective.
So
I recommend that. It's a good strategy.
We'll see how it goes. Normally, I end up playing the bad cop for most stuff. So,
yeah. Well, hey.
How you doing, Curtis? Good to see you, sir. There was a question right here. Donald, I believe he has this one and the one at his shop.
Yep. We got the ones that if you find me on other channels, we're probably in someone else's studio. I do a lot of stuff with like partners on the technology side of thing. But as far as the ones that I do my own stuff out of, it's either here at the house or over at the office. Being 10 o'clock at night, I was like, I don't feel like driving back from the office around midnight. So I'm just going to do it here.
Vato, every stream, you bitch about this. Well, partially it's because what you see on the screen right now is all I know how to do with StreamYard. So I don't know how to give people wrenches. I'm sorry. And don't tell me
what you see is what you get.
Yep.
They say out of the box functionality, and that's what they say.
Yep, that's why you see us two, a black screen. You got the StreamYard watermark up there. Because I'm not gonna fucking pay money for this.
You just got to start pretending like it's sponsored by StreamYard. Just pretend it's like one of your sponsors. Be like, I'm just going to take a minute to acknowledge our sponsor, StreamYard. You can see them up there in the left corner. Just totally lean into it.
That's a good way to put it. Yep.
Hey, fake it till you make it, man.
That's funny.
I love it.
So, Nick, you have Amazing Man stuff. What other business ventures are you into? You said earlier, your technology stuff that you do. What are some of the other stuff that you do?
So we have a wood shop. So if you look at just our building that we have in Pembroke, we have a wood shop that's Bigfoot Slabs. Of course, Dr. Nick's takes up the bulk of the main floor. I'm upstairs with a consulting company that's kind of on the cybersecurity side of the house. And then a software development company that's also focused on cybersecurity, mostly focused there on super nerdy stuff, which is basically network telemetry. But if you really boil it down, it's, ransomware hunting, just protecting big banks from Russian hackers is kind of where I spend my time doing that stuff, negotiating with ransomware gangs over the differences of multiple ransoms. so as far as official businesses go, that's it.
Okay.
I say that's it, but I mean, then, things that I kind of dabble in, really, I guess the only other thing that I've done at all professionally that I still focus on would be photography.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, where to go? How you doing, Russ? You're not late, sir. But what did you first start? Was it the ransomware thing?
Oddly enough, it was actually, if you think about the things that when I branched off in 2015 to kind of do my own thing away from the firm that I was working with, it was actually Dr. Nick's and Moonrock Consulting started at the exact same time. I kind of gave myself a little runway and said, all right, I can either accept the position that was offered to me somewhere else when I left the last place, or, I could try doing my own thing. And so I put 2 irons in the fire, and I told myself that I had a year to give it a go. And if one of them worked out, great. And, whichever one kind of got, to the point where it was paying the bills first, that's what I would focus on.
Which isn't a bad business plan.
No, it's not. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And, it did. And so go figure, the one that was more lucrative right out of the gate was securing large healthcare and financial networks from foreign attackers. There was a pretty good need for it then. Not as much as there is today, but there definitely was still a need. There wasn't all the ransomware stuff and all that going on, but it got really, really busy, which is why I kind of had to maintain Dr. Nick's in the background and still kind of grow it from a concept perspective. And then sort of that's why we had the relaunch in 2019 when my wife Jill, was able to take the reins and really run with it. Okay,
so you would say that Dr. Nick should actually be Dr. Jillian's.
I mean, at this point, shoot, she has more. She's in there full time, right? She's the one that's answering the bulk of the customer service emails when I don't happen to grab one. She's the one doing formulation, bottling, labeling. I still go down there and do lots of labeling for her because I love doing it. And then I handled the entire business side of Dr. Nick. So as far as, the numbers go, the partnerships, the wholesale network, anything we do on the technology side as well. So like the marketing, sales, the website, all of that stuff, I kind of handle that. So if you think about it, she's sort of operations and I'm sort of like the back office. Right. But it works out really, really well. She, I think, is much better at it than I ever was. I mean, we still are most, like, if you look at like our IPA scent and our number 7, those are the first 2 fragrance profiles I ever created in the very beginning, blending essential oils after I figured out I couldn't use fragrance oils. And so it's nice seeing those as still being our top sellers because that was kind of those were our only products in the very beginning.
Right.
The only ones that were ever on retail shelves. So it's cool seeing those still do what, they were doing then. And it's fantastic. But as far as, it's nice to be able to focus on some of the stuff that I'm focusing on with Dr. Nick's now, though, because it's able to grow. I'm not just with my head down every day filling orders. I'm able to actually try to, move it forward and see it grow. Dr. Jill's has a nice ring to it, though. Yeah, I bet. You like that? We've always joked around and said if we did a trade show, we'd have to, like, if we had like a couple people in the booth, we'd have to have nurses in order with rubber gloves on to apply beard oil samples for people, It'd just be too good. You have to do it. You got to lean into it.
You got to lean into it. Yeah, exactly. You do.
You
got to go with the theme in a sense,
it.
Because, and I want to say, I remember coming across your company in probably 2020, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, I thought it was like a novelty kind of thing with like how big the name was and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was kind of like a novelty because even like companies like Damn Yankee, I didn't believe that it was a beard company. I thought it was like a knockoff of Damn Yankee Candle.
Yeah. Like you're going to get Yankee Candle scented beard oil.
Yeah. So I thought, you know, but I was new to it. I didn't know, you know, so I just kind of, I didn't pay much attention, I guess, until I got into certain things, you know, because like with you know, the majority of the time that I really started to figure out who you were and what your company was like was when you started to really be on Dan's radar, Dan C's,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
I saw you on his lives. I saw a couple videos of his for you, then seeing him post like your lives on your channel that he was hosting and stuff, watching those and then figuring out, oh, it's a real company, and you know, he
Imagine that.
really he really backs it and stuff. So
He really does exist.
I guess I'll have to, you know, give it a shot. And then, I mean, seeing that enormous fucking beard you got,
It's
holy
getting there.
shit, you know, he must be doing something right.
You know, it's funny when we first started posting, I hadn't been out there on social media much. And, you know, Dan obviously got us out there a lot more on social media, especially here in the beard community, where we've made almost all the friends that, you know, we have in the beard community kind of started then, I guess, in 2022. Like I say, we had a lot of retail and we had just a lot of organic search and, you know, Google search customers. You know, we didn't really have super close connections with everybody. You know, we still try to take care of everybody, right? But we didn't know people on a first name basis and exchange emails and messages all the time like we do now. And when we first posted something, I forget what it was. It was a picture of me doing something, my stupid face doing stupid face stuff somewhere. And it was one of the comments we got down underneath it was, "Oh, looks like extensions." And I was like, holy shit, I must be doing something right. Someone thinks I'm using beard extensions.
Yeah, using
good
beard extensions.
I didn't even know that was a thing. And I looked it up after I read the comment and yep, sure as hell it is.
I mean, I've heard of like guys having beards drawn on them, or
like that. Yeah, like the
or even like the beard
thing.
wigs, that you see they like put glue on your face and then glue a beard onto your face. I've heard of that shit, but I had never heard of actual extensions.
I didn't even know that was a thing. It was funny though. It was so some people had the reaction you have of saying like, well, hell, look at that dude. He's got a sweet beard. It must be doing something right. It must work. And then I guess there was people out there who were like, yep, fake news. It's fake beard.
Yep. Yeah. Need it that bad that I'm gonna fake it to, you know, glue some shit onto my beard or snap in some stuff to the little bit that I do have. That sounds stupid.
That sounds like a lot of work. Sounds really uncomfortable. Can you imagine? Like, I don't even like when I put my beard up in like a bun or like in braids or something, and I feel like it like tugging like right here. I'm like, oh, nope, get it out. Don't like it. Bad touch.
Exactly, Walter. You'll never need one. You know, true beardsmen.
Like I said, I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah, I mean,
can we call them beard implants though? Because I like that a lot better than beard extensions. We can just call them beard implants. I think the term implants is way more cool than extensions.
How you doing, Ken? Good to see you, sir.
Well, aloha, Ken. Maybe Ken's from Hawaii. I don't know.
Maybe. You know, he during the winter when, you know, it was like 40 below here and I had like 10 feet of snow. He liked making fun of me on how it was 70 degrees where he was, and he was in shorts.
Maybe, you know, hey, we're all the product of the path we chose, right? I grew up in Hawaii, and because of poor decision-making skills and bad life choices, I now live 30 minutes south of Boston.
Poor life decisions.
You are who you create, right? You know, we put ourselves here.
That is very true. I live about 20 minutes away from where I grew up.
See, that's pretty cool. This is where I'm at now. I had never spent 10 Christmases in the same I had never spent 8 Christmases in the same state before. So This is like the most roots I've ever had. So I'm always envious of people who kind of like grew up in the same place and have been around the same people since they were a kid.
Yeah, I grew up small town, farm family, and I moved away about an hour to go to college.
Man,
And
you like moving off to college. But you could still go home on the weekends and stuff though. That's awesome.
yep.
Go do
And-
laundry.
Oh, I did. I know when I first moved out,
Yeah.
every weekend I was home doing laundry.
Take all the leftovers out of the fridge on your way out for whatever they cooked all weekend.
Exactly.
Just
And
leave with a stack of Tupperware containers.
stack of Tupperware containers, probably 2 or 3 laundry baskets full of laundry. Yeah, it was.
You're like, I came in with this. This is fine. These are mine.
These are all mine. So when it comes to like,
Hey, what's up, Braden?
How you doing, Braden? When it comes to travel or being well traveled, I am about as well traveled as a grasshopper makes it around his little, 10 by 10 foot. Because I've gone to Florida and then I visited the surrounding states of Minnesota once or twice.
Well, it's one of those things though, man. I mean, hell, I don't know. There's good sides to both of it, really. I mean, you feel like, you're grounded, right? I mean, that's pretty cool.
True. I was very, very family oriented is my biggest thing.
Which is awesome. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm not saying, I've traveled a bunch, so I'm kind of like self-deprecating here, but I feel like almost like the urge to travel comes with some level of dissatisfaction about your current surroundings. And, not to get too deep on it, but I do feel like the wanderlust kind of comes from somewhere rooted there, right? Like you have
Right.
that explorative view because you're like, nope, this can't be it. Like I'm going to find it, right? But there's good adventures to be had. I'm not saying, I think people travel for lots of good reasons too. So, but I think with me personally, I think that was probably my reason for traveling. I'm like, okay, like what else is out there? I think that was kind of where I approached it.
How you doing, Aldemir? See, I don't like people very much.
Same.
So that is where my thing for travel comes from. My wife is the exact opposite. She loves people. She wants to travel and all this. I could never leave home and I'd be fine. I never got to see another person ever. I'd be fine.
Oh man, I think I'd be totally fine with that too. I think I'm the world's most extroverted introvert, I think is the way that I'd like to probably say it. If you take the Myers-Briggs scale, like I am an ENTP, if you're gonna psychoanalyze me, plenty of people have, and apparently that's the common opinion. Which means I like to argue a lot. But I also think that stems from the fact that I don't, I'd be perfectly happy by myself.
Yep. Exactly. I'm perfectly happy. I mean, to the T. I don't ever have to go anywhere, especially this day and age when you can have literally anything and everything delivered to you.
Yeah, right. They made me so. I mean, like technology and the internet made being an introvert a whole lot easier. And then I think the pandemic was like an introvert's wet dream, like even when I was like, even when people were complaining about like the whole adjusting to working from home thing and like, oh, we got to go back to this and this and like, and then they had to go back and it's like, I don't want to go back. I got used to working from home. So everyone kind of flip flopped, everyone felt isolated and then they ended up liking it because they saw the light and, but it was weird. Like, even before doing my own thing, man. I mean, I've been working remotely now for, almost 20 years, primarily. And I guess for the past 15, like almost completely remote.
See, when the pandemic hit, I was working factory. I didn't get you get to work from home thing.
Hell no. Wear a mask, get to work.
Yep. Wear a mask, stay 6 feet from other people, wash, sanitize your hands every 10 seconds. All that bullshit. And and it was all right. It was one of those things where it's I got to do what I got to do and whatnot. And then the shit happened with my parents and stuff and all that. And my brother was starting to panic about the farm and stuff. And so I looked at him one day and I said, "I'll fucking quit my job, come help you."
Dude, that's awesome. What kind of farm is it? Like, what do you guys do there?
We're crop farmers. We do a little under 1,400 acres of soybeans and corn.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So it's my brother and I. We him more than anything. He worked for my dad or with my dad for 8 years. So he more than anybody wanted to keep it going. So and I wanted in it really bad. I had wanted in it for a long time, but when I knew because I had a pivotal point in my life where I had dropped out of college. We were getting kicked out of the place we were living. And I called my mom and I told her what was happening. And she said, "Well, you have two choices. Get a job or we'll come get you and you can come home. But you're really, really not going to like it."
They did their best to make that the least attractive of the two options.
Yes. And so like 2 days later, I went, a buddy of mine, I was 19, 20 at the time. A buddy of mine, he's like, I can get you a job at Burger King if you want. Sure. Why
You're
not?
like, done. If it means I don't have to go to whatever hell is waiting for me back to where that is, I'm doing it.
Yep. So I went to work there and then I started working for the hog slaughter plant in Austin. Hormel is based in Austin, Minnesota. Yep. I started working for their slaughter plant and I did that for 5 years. And you want to talk about shitty jobs. Holy crap.
So side question on that. Did they go through the whole struggle that like Smithfield went through where there was like this, there's like this great pork butt shortage and it was because all the plants were having problems getting people work there during the pandemic. And it was like half of them were kind of shutting down. I guess they had a big fire at one of theirs or something though, I guess was the big problem.
That I have no idea because this was all back in 2010.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Okay.
So I ended up, I did the night shift there, the sanitation job for 3 years. And then I worked in the barn and dealt with the live hogs. And I would be happy if I never heard or saw a pig ever again.
Dude, I bet. I mean, working at a slaughterhouse has got to desensitize, or I don't know, I guess hypersensitize you to those animals that are there. I mean, that's got to be intense.
Well, I grew up with them too, so
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like deep rooted.
Yeah,
it's like systemic trauma. Ellie, you're so right. I don't even know what new Metallica is anymore. Because don't even know what it is. It's James Hetfield being an angry old man. I don't know.
We all know Metallica went in the shitter after the Black Album when James got sober.
And that's what it is. Look at all the great artists in history. The mental lubricant was gone.
It's true. I mean, it always seems like the greatest artists turn to shit when they get sober or off drugs or any of that stuff. When they get their shit cleaned up, all of a sudden their music goes out the window with it.
And and I feel like it's because one of their recreations supported and helped the other one until it turned into something that wasn't a recreation anymore. Right? I mean, that's one or the other. It can kind of go both ways. I don't know. That's why I like to consider myself a recreational alcohol enthusiast.
That's a good way to put it.
It's a hobby. It's healthy.
Yeah, it's a hobby. Yeah, however you want to justify it to yourself.
I think I just did.
But yeah, I mean, now with working, with my brother and farming and stuff, and my wife has a good job working in, I guess you would say it's car sales. She just started a new part of her job as she oversees used cars and them getting worked on and then getting sold and stuff.
Oh, nice. Is it
So
like one of those? Is it at like an actual physical dealer or one of those like aggregators that works with like all the dealers out there and supplies them with inventory?
I would call it a dealer. They do all sorts of vehicles, all the brands or whatever you would like to call it, and they sell brand new ones. It's a mechanic shop, all that stuff. And
Nice.
they've been around for a long, long time. I know that.
Dude, some of those places are like that. My brother is in the car business in Missouri. And, it's like once you're part of a community doing what you do there, and then you start kind of getting regionally known, it's almost one of those things you can't quit doing. Like you can't, just the need is obviously always going to be there.
Yeah.
And once you get good at it, people aren't going to let you stop doing it.
Well, I mean, I know that they don't just service like pedestrian civilian vehicles. They do like large box trucks and shit like that too. So I think there's only one other shop in town that deals on the same thing, but they also do like semis and even bigger rigs.
Yeah. No, and that's kind of like a specialty thing. My buddy used to work on big ass wreckers and tow trucks and stuff down in Tampa when I lived down there. And it was, as far as I could tell, it was just an excuse to be able to collect really cool old trucks. But apparently there was kind of a business behind it,
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to have that side agenda to it.
Yeah. You do. You got to be coin operated to some extent.
Right.
I'm reading some of the comments. They're cracking me up.
Yeah. Half the time they are all having their own side conversations. Usually.
Aldemir lives in Hawaii, I guess. He says he's been stuck there. Let's see, I'm here stuck for 30 plus years. That's honestly, it's kind of funny. Like I joke around about like, why the hell did I ever leave Kauai? But Kauai being like, the smallest real populated island of all of them is where I lived the longest. And I remember the first time, driving around, like we moved straight from Kauai to Newton, Massachusetts, right outside of Boston. And so talk about culture shock. I mean, I hadn't seen a billboard in, 6 years.
Well, then you got to get used to cold again and snow.
Haven't gotten used to it. Not yet. I'm just cold all the time. I'm like, as soon as it gets warm outside and everyone's complaining about how it's hot, and I'm like, yes. It's so nice.
See, nope. I mean, once it reaches about 80 here, I'm like, fuck this. I want it to be cold again.
I'm done. Why is it so hot? Why am I sweating? What is this perspiration?
Yeah. Well, and we get about a week to 2 weeks here where it's 100% humidity.
Oh, wow.
It is the most fucking miserable thing, in my opinion. I know people like down in the South and like Louisiana and stuff, they're like, well, that's pussy stuff compared to down here kind of shit. But
oh, yeah.
When you're going from, I have seen -60 here with wind chill.
Dude, that's brutal.
So when you go from that extreme to the very opposite end, and sometimes it's not a very long period of time.
No, that's the swings are what get you. I mean, that's what's nuts. Like, I think if you live in 100+ degree weather all the time, I don't know. I feel like, you get used to it, just like you get used to the cold.
Yep.
But
you become
I lived in
acclimated.
Palm Desert for a while, but I did not live there long enough to get used to it. I think I lived in Palm Desert for like, a year. And you're just running from air conditioned place to air conditioned place. Like you're never doing anything outside but aside from like wondering why you're not in the air conditioning.
Yeah, exactly. When you're walking outside just to go to your car from the gas station, you're like, fuck, no.
Yeah. And it's like a super popular golf destination. I'm like, you would not get me standing out in direct sunlight on grass.
No.
Wearing a polo shirt.
Or anywhere near any water either that I'm not able to go in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. It's the only way to stay cool. 114. Holy crap.
Yeah, 114 out here. Vato.
Wow. Dude,
I have something to say. I have something to say to that for you, Vato, but I'll just let it ride.
Based on your opening comment, I think I know what it might be.
So I've heard, I've watched a lot of the shows that you do with Dan, and you talk about being well traveled and stuff. How how much have you, like, other countries, or how many states? I know you went into it extensively on his,
Yeah.
but
God, it's like I have to go through it and like track it all. So I know it's like 30, I think it was like 32 or 34 houses, but across like 17 states, and Canada, I guess, is the only other country I've actually lived in. Montreal and Mont Tremblant and Quebec City, that kind of area. But traveling, I've kind of been all over. I've been to England and France and Belgium and Germany and the Netherlands and Iceland, and all over Puerto Rico quite a bit, down to Jamaica and the islands in the Caribbean a lot. Virgin Islands I've traveled to a whole bunch. And I liked, for a long time, when I was just working remote and I wasn't doing much that required physical stuff. This was before we relaunched Dr. Nick's. When it was cold here, I'd just go work in Rincon, Puerto Rico, from an Airbnb for months on end sometimes. But I've only lived, I guess, continental United States, Canada, and then Hawaii. But yeah, I've traveled around quite a bit. I've done some cool road trips in other countries, and driven around. I think I drove, and then a mix of driving and trains and stuff from like London through Belgium and up into the Netherlands. And so I've bounced around a bit.
sounds like it, just a little.
Just a little. Yeah. And then for work, of course, I mean, I was just traveling regionally a lot, like not even just regionally, I guess, but what was it, like 20? So it was like 2018, 2017, maybe. I think I clocked in 210, 215 separate flight legs on JetBlue in 1 year.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was a lot of flying. It was every week. It was multiple flights bouncing around. It was nuts.
So would you say you're kind of even on your travel for work versus your travel for leisure or luxury, or kind of even?
I've definitely traveled more abroad just for leisure, for personal travel. But I think I've probably been on a plane more for work than I have personally.
Okay.
I was bouncing around quite a bit for a while before people figured out that it was okay to like communicate over a webcam, or maybe people just got sick of me being in their office and liked me better over a webcam. I don't know, but I'll take it either way. I mean, I would prefer the phone. I've always thought I've had a face made for radio. So if I can do it over the phone and through email, I will.
Always go with the easiest route you can, right?
The path of least resistance. It's like water and electricity. They're both very efficient for that reason.
Exactly. See, but Ken, isn't most of yours military related? I feel like that's the reason why you've been.
Wow.
I think that's a big reason on why you've traveled so much.
Yeah, everyone asks me that. They're like, when they find out about the moving around, they're like, "Oh, you must have been a military brat." And I always joked around and said, "No, worse, my dad was in the timeshare business." Which is true. That's what he did. But he was one of those old school sales guys that just refused to do anything where he had to not be where he was managing a property. He wanted to be there. He wanted to eat dinner at the same places that his guests were going to be eating dinner. He wanted to, the whole thing.
Yeah, I remember you saying that on one of the other streams and explaining why you were so traveled as a young kid and everything.
Yeah, it wasn't tax evasion, So I mean, it was just,
Hey, Joe, how you doing, sir? You as well. Thank you. I appreciate that, Braden. I try my best, I try to have people on here that are interesting to talk to.
So why the hell am I here?
Well, for one, I mean, I didn't know I didn't really know you. So I figured this was like the one shot where I can get to know you, and if I don't like you, I don't have to ever talk to you again, I guess.
I mean, hey, there's always that. No, I can tell we're cut from the same kind of crazy. It's a good thing. I'm glad we got to set this up, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad that you agreed to come on. I was looking at this. Ellie's always about the weird shit.
Would you rather have a lick of the inside of Corey Taylor's mask or lick off Gene Simmons makeup? Which one's less likely to give you herpes?
Corey Taylor.
Yeah, I'd say probably Corey Taylor. They didn't have ointments for the kind of stuff that I'm worried about these days back in Gene Simmons' day.
And it would have to be Corey's original mask from like the self-titled and Iowa albums.
Dude, those things stink. They're so bad. They're so bad in there.
I believe it.
It was like I was at Guar's Slave Pit in Richmond, where they do all their animatronic productions and they build all the monsters and they make all the latex masks. It was like Dave Brocky's little creativity zone. And it was after David passed and we were down there for his memorial after his funeral. And we were over there and we're all just kind of checking stuff out. Everyone's kind of bummed out and sad, you know, and there's an old odorous mask sitting there and it's on a mannequin head. And I'm sitting there holding it. And I'm like looking around and Scott Crawl, one of the guys that's on the crew there, he like looks over at me and like, he's like, I mean, what are you doing with that thing? And I was like, I don't know. I've always wondered what it's like to like put this thing on. I won't do it. And like, I told him right away, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. Don't worry. And he's like, dude, if you can tolerate the stench of that thing, be my guest. And I was like, I don't know. It feels kind of weird, but I was like, yeah, I'll go for it. So I did. And it was just like, holy hell. It was, you know, it was years in retirement. That mask still stunk.
I'm sure there's probably been more than just his face in that. So,
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's Brocky.
Every Friday night at 9 p.m. there, Braden. Appreciate it, sir.
Nice.
E-Beard says you got more miles on you than his ex-wife. Well, that's why she's an ex, right?
I hope so.
That's right. He had mentioned last night that you were going to be involved in the NF auction on next Tuesday.
Yeah. Yep. There's did we send in? I think we sent in the prize for that. I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool though. It's like it's gonna be a really cool. I don't know if he wants me to spoil what the auction item is gonna be, but we actually donated a pretty cool one.
Good deal. No, he hasn't even told me or Chris yet, so he's holding it all close to him until the day, I think.
Okay, well, I won't spoil any surprises then, but it's something pretty sweet. We decided to have some fun with it.
Good. I mean, last year was the first one that I was involved with him with, and we had a lot of fun. Hopefully,
that's awesome. Yeah, no, we just found out about it. He reached out to us and told us about it, and we're all about supporting, really any good cause we can, but especially that one. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he's got very intimate experience with it, so.
Well, it's one of those things. Once in a while, you got to take you got to take those things and turn them into something positive for somebody, And
he definitely does. So. I'm not sucking your dick, Joe. So just take it as okay. What was this? Yeah, everybody loves Ellie. I love Ellie, so
who doesn't love Ellie?
Exactly.
My trip without the luggage. Luggage or baggage?
Yeah, which one is
both are good to be without.
Yeah, everybody that has signed up for that for the auction, and everybody that has donated, and everybody that usually turns out for it. Last year we had a lot of people turn out for it. So
No, it's cool, man. I was kind of checking out some previous years posts and stuff. It looks cool. Everyone gets behind it. It's awesome.
Yeah, when you take out the dramatic bitch boys that are determined to try to ruin it.
I mean, you're always going to have those, there's those people out there that just can't see other people, having a good time or being supportive about something without messing it up.
Yeah, but we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. That we will.
Joe, stop stroking yourself. Just know that I'm your friend. We'll leave it at that. How you doing, Wiley? I haven't seen you for a while. Then the blind bag I bought last time full of Dan's uneat. What the fuck?
Bunch of pizza crusts.
What the hell, Wiley?
That's like us always telling people they need to send us in their toenail clippings for their giveaway prizes.
Yeah, for the giveaway prizes, you need the toenail clippings, you need DNA, you need one of those, when you go to one of those sperm banks, you need a sample and all that shit.
This is the way.
It's been a long. Did you take all day to think of that one? Is that what the case is there, Wiley?
I don't think I've had a day that hasn't felt like a long day in a while. Actually, I think yesterday and today were like the least long days I've had in a while. It's been good.
Okay, all right, Chris. So the week that I was supposed to do a show with Tyson on here, I fell asleep. And I woke up to the cops banging on my door.
Is that when you did the wellness check because you were like an hour late for a stream or something?
Yes.
I watched, when you reached out to me, I watched some of your old streams. That was the first one I watched.
Yeah. Garrett and Melissa, the beard modes, called the cops. And yeah, I was woken up to cops banging on my door. And they were like, is everything all right? And I'm in my, just woke up stupor.
You're like, I think so.
And it's like, yeah, why? What the fuck is going on? Why are you here?
It was until you guys got here.
And yeah, they were like, well, do you know a Melissa McCarty? And I was like, yeah. It's like, she said something about like you do a live stream on Fridays or something like that. And I went, yeah, everything's fine. You guys are good to go. No problem. And I went and sat back down on the couch, and Becky's like, oh shit. yeah. I forgot to set an alarm.
Yep.
And then it was, we had lasagna that night for supper. And now everybody.
So you got in a carb coma.
Yeah, everybody gives me shit about that. And the Messy Kevin thing goes back to Daniel the Bearded when we were on Overtime, when he used to do live streams on Fridays. And I told everybody what my version of Sloppy Joes are.
Okay.
And everybody thinks it's ridiculously stupid. And he dubbed it Messy Kevin's for whatever reason. And it's stuck that way.
So what is your version? I mean, you can't drop that and not expect me to ask what is your version of a sloppy Joe if it causes that sort of appallment.
It's the way my mother made them growing up. Okay. So it's just ground beef, ketchup, mustard, and chicken gumbo.
And chicken gumbo.
Yes, Campbell's chicken gumbo. That's what everybody gets hung up on.
Okay, well, I mean, that is sort of like you're kind of listing off some usual suspects there, and then you drop that one. right? And so I do have to think maybe that deserves, its own name.
Yeah, it caused a lot of controversy with everybody when I said that, and they were like, "That isn't a sloppy Joe. That's whatever the fuck you're eating."
That's like when you're saying like, well, I mean, like, I'm just get weirded out whenever, people don't make my hot dogs like my mom used to. And it's like, well, how'd you make them? It's like, well, you got a hot dog, you got grilled buns, you got some ketchup, you got some mustard, and then clam chowder. I mean, that's like everyone eats hot dogs.
Everybody thinks my messy Kevins are weird. Clam chowder on fucking hot dogs. Okay, here's one to take the cake here. Everybody can forget about the messy Kevin shit now.
No, let's just yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't just go that far right and expect, not to get some questions.
So, how you doing, Travis? Good to see you, sir. And yeah, it's what is everybody going on? Yeah, I know you guys did it because you care. I get that. And I appreciate it. Brand new, never used alarm clock. Thanks, Wiley. They need to auction off a shirt that says "I called the cops on Beer of the North and all I got was this lousy T-shirt." Well,
I like it. That's a winner.
And yeah, I had a couple texts from a few other people. I mean, my phone had rang like 16 times. My wife's the same. Hers, if it's not me, my mother, or her mother, or my sister, her phone don't even ring after a certain period of time at night.
Oh, she's got like the quiet time with like the VIP list thing where people get through it. Yeah.
Yep. And then mine was on silent, so
I do need to do that. My phone number is in too many places. I get the weirdest phone calls from oh dear God.
How you doing, Deej? Nice of you to stop in, man. Thank you. This is my brother.
What's up, DJ? Hot dogs and peanut butter. My friend Gabe, his dad used to do that.
Hot dogs and peanut butter.
That was like a thing.
That's new to me, Deej. When the fuck did you start doing that?
And Twinkie Wiener sandwich. Sounds like a different kind of stream.
Where the hell is that? Twinkie Wiener?
Heard of glazed donut cheeseburgers. Never heard of Twinkie Wieners.
Ah, yes. Okay, this makes sense then.
I mean, that you can kind of put that last part of there just at the end of just about anything, and it sort of explains it sometimes.
Yes, that is very true.
The world could make a lot more sense if you just kind of threw that at the end of a lot of, otherwise confusing statements.
Yes. So it's, I had that happen, and now if I'm even a minute late, everybody says, "Oh, we're gonna have to call the cops again." So, it is what it is.
I mean, yeah, fitting, I guess, right? I mean, hey, you know what they always say? You F one sheep. Next thing you know.
The fucked up part about that is I have sheep.
Someone just told me a really good joke about a sheep farm. I'd butcher it right next. I don't remember the whole thing, but I remember it being really funny.
Yeah. See,
salt and cheese and tuna. Oh yeah, that's good.
See, it was always, I learned that when I was in college. It was box craft macaroni and cheese and tuna and seasonal seasoned salt.
Oh yeah.
Holy hell, was that amazing.
Yeah. See, and you know what? Seasonal, I think, is what started off as like the knockoff of Lowry's, but it's way better.
Way better.
Like way better. No contest.
I would rather have that than Lowry's at any point.
Oh yeah, seasonal makes Lowry's look like Miracle Whip. You know, it's just it's just it's a superior product.
Oh, Ellie.
I want a pet goat.
A
And
pet goat,
pig.
a pet pig.
Jill
Call
also
them
wants a
breakfast and
pet
lunch.
pig. She's all well. We have a Frenchie that kind of acts like a pig, and he sounds like one when he sleeps. But yeah, Jill wants a pet pig real bad.
See, when my wife and I moved here, we live out in the country just south of a small village. It's like 80 people. And we moved out onto this farm, and she's originally from city, I guess you could say, right? We get out here, the idea of a hobby farm comes into her head. Or we could get a cow, or we could get a pig, we can get some chickens, because there was a old Morton building that was turned into a barn here. They had horses and they had some sheep here. I told her when she brought that up, I said, absolutely not. Because I know how much work it is.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of work.
No. Well, it'd be a lot of fun. No, it's not.
Like how though? Fun like how, and fun for who?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
a couple of clarifying questions.
And then our neighbors, they apparently just down the road, the neighbors that live there now, the farm was kind of given to the guy that lives there now. He's married, they got a couple kids. We became friends. He stopped by and he said, "Hey, I see you got a lot of pasture with nothing in it. Would you mind, fostering some sheep?" Yeah, no problem. Then I don't have to fucking mow it. So he's all right. Well, we started getting in with them and whatnot. We were taking their sheep for the summer and whatnot. Well, they have cattle also. All of a sudden we have a couple calves that are bottle calves that we can't take care of at the moment. Would you mind taking care of them? No.
You're like, hold on. This is how this starts. You're like the guy outside the bus station right now with your gateway sheep and your gateway goats. And now you're trying to get me with the full on livestock.
Yep. And Becky said that she really wanted to do it. And I told her, you know what? Fine. But I am not doing anything with them.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like. I'm not doing it. So we get them. Yeah, they're little bottle calves. And it's fun feeding them, bottle calves, whatnot. You make the bottles up. It's all
they're
good.
cute.
Well, then they start getting bigger. Then it's time to wean them to buckets. Well, guess who's not quite big enough to handle these now 250, 300-pound calves that don't understand the fucking concept of drinking milk out of a bucket.
They also don't know they're 250 pounds.
Yes. Dan, I need your help. Of course you do.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah. Funny how that works, Now all of a sudden I'm out there doing it, taking care of them. Yep. And then after we dealt with that, then all of a sudden we have ducks.
Oh yeah, you got the full like New York shuffle card game trick, You got bamboozled.
Yeah. Well, she has a tendency sometimes to, I don't care that you said no, I'm going to do it anyway. But then when there's a problem, it's me.
Well, then
it's for me now.
Well, then it's your problem.
Yes. She's going to fucking hate me for this one, but I'm just telling the truth. How you doing, Nate? Been a while since I've seen you, sir. Chris P. Bacon, the only appropriate name for a pig. Yes. Yes.
I like it.
Yes. See, us dads say no to most pets.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
I'm done. Joe was talking about something else. I forget what it was the other day. And I'm like, no, there is nothing else that consumes oxygen or food coming into our house. Like, no, nothing else with a heartbeat. I don't want any. No, I'm all set.
Exactly. We had when we first moved here, we got some barn cats just to make sure we didn't get mice in the house, which is all fine and dandy, you know. But the wife and I had argued so long about having a dog. Well, when we lived in town, we lived in a small house or an apartment. And if I'm going to have a dog, I want a big breed dog, like a lab, because that's what I grew up with. It's torture for them to have them in such a small confined space.
Oh, you can't have, yeah, you can't have a lab in an apartment easily. I mean, they're too high energy. They want to be out of there. You know, there's only a certain number of spaces they're allowed to go.
Yep. So for 12 years, we argued about that. Well, then we move out here and we got 6.5 acres. They don't have to be in the house. How about that dog? And I just no, I'm good because they cost money and time and I don't have that.
Yeah, I don't have an overabundance of any of those things, and I don't want anything else consuming what little I have.
Well, we had our daughter, and for her, I want to say it was her second birthday. Now I have a dog. And it was hidden under the guise of grandma and grandpa are getting her a dog.
Ah, the old blame grandma and grandpa trick.
But I can't argue too much because it's one of those things where, you see the memes a lot where you see the picture of the dad and the dog being best friends and it says dad, whatever with a dog that he didn't want.
Yep. That sounds about right.
I love that dumb dickhead now. So.
Oh yeah. We have our little French bulldog, Sir, and he, I've actually never quite, I don't think I've ever quite been as close to a dog before this guy ever. I had dogs my whole life growing up. I've always liked dogs. I've always liked them. They've always liked me, but it's like, I don't think I've actually had like a good, like, bond with one this strong until him. It's every once in a while, one of them will get you and you're like, oh, okay. Yep. I couldn't do without this, I guess.
Now I can't do without it.
Yep. That's how it goes.
Aldemir, the crickets are unwelcome guests. I can't do anything about them aside from what I did this last year. Everybody busted my balls because when I was on live streams, I get crickets in my basement. I have an old school basement, concrete. Yeah. So crickets get in here. Well, everybody could hear them on stream. So I would get shit for it. And
it's your white noise generator. It's like I actually have really bad anxiety and I don't do well without the sound of crickets at nighttime.
But when winter started rolling around or started getting close, we were in fall and stuff, I decided to get a toad and bring him down here. And all the crickets disappeared.
Really? Look at that. That's a good trick.
It was an old trick that my grandmother used to do. She'd have a toad in the basement. He'd eat all the crickets and spiders and whatnot, and he lived in the well room.
That's a really crazy idea. There's all those old, I feel like if you went back, like, I don't know, if you like transported someone from, the 20s, 30s, to where we are now, and they look at like the way we solve certain problems, they'd be like, well, why don't you just take this and put it there and do that? And that problem goes away. Why are you paying someone to do it? Why are you using this to do that? It's like we seem to have people have commercialized so many solutions that they've like made us all forget that there's a simple and very free way to do most things that we spend money on.
Exactly. We've become too. It's laziness in a sense,
Yeah. I mean, innovation at its core is the cornerstone of laziness.
Very true.
Most things that have been invented in order to make something easier to do.
Well, I appreciate you too, Chris, man. Sorry you had a shitty week.
I love hearing that on these streams though. Like whenever I'm watching someone else's stream and people are saying stuff like that, or they say something like that on one of ours that we do, and it's just like, I honestly sometimes that's the exact same thing for me.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's like once in a while you'll have one of those weeks just getting around a bunch of good people, even if it's just on a live stream, just kind of turn it around for you a bit.
All it takes is just kicking back and hanging out with some buddies over the internet.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is like I was stuck doing it so long on the technology side of things, on the cybersecurity side of stuff mostly, that I had never really done one for something that I was like personally passionate about, I guess, until I started doing live streams with Dan, with beard stuff, right, in the beard community, and it's like it's one of those funny things. It's totally different. It's like all of a sudden you're around like actual like-minded people, and you can talk openly, and you're talking about something that you're passionate about, that you like. It's it's nice. It's very different. I had no idea they could be so much fun.
I always, I joke a lot about. Well, I don't joke. I do hate people, but on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, I have closer friends, so to say, that I have never met in my life than I ever have in real life. Like the only people that I hang out with in actual real life are my family, my wife and my kid, or my brother and sister.
Yeah, I have a pretty tight circle of people, I guess. Like, everyone knows a bunch of people, but I guess like my tight circle of people is pretty small. The collection of them from around the country, I guess, is large, but it is small. I like it that way,
So I get crap. I've got crap because, well, if you hate people so much, why do you do this? Well, because I can just turn this off.
Yeah, you can.
I don't have to pick up my phone. I don't have, if something happened right now to where like Nick pissed me off or somebody in the chat pissed me off, and I was just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm done. All I gotta do is go up here and hit this little X.
And you're back on the couch.
Yep, and I'm free and clear.
Yep.
So, because like when I got into TikTok, that was the biggest thing. I had a viral video that was about disliking people and living out in the country. I don't have to deal with anybody. My closest neighbor is like a mile and a half away. I don't have to deal with any of it. And the reoccurring theme in a lot of the comments, because it's just as toxic over there as it is on any other platform. Well, says he hates people, but he does TikTok or other social medias. And that's always my rebuttal to that type of shit is I can just turn this off.
Oh, yeah. I can hit the button right on the side of this thing and it goes black. And I don't have to look at any of this.
Nope. And I could never again if I didn't want to.
Yep. One of the beautiful things about technology.
But it's, a lot of it is there are some really cool people that I would never have ever met or talked to or any of that.
Oh, same.
Without this. So,
dude, there's people, after kind of, getting the live stream going and meeting people that are, part of this greater, beard community, it's, hell, there's people that I'm texting with on a weekly basis and emailing with back and forth all the time now that are people that I would have never met, and there's actually some people that, we've connected and then the conversations have kind of gone where they go. And we've got, new friendships started and, cool stuff. Like my buddy Dennis that's in here, it's like we met him through a friend, and turns out he was already watching some streams and started kind of interacting with ours. And, turns out he lives in a couple towns down, and we've hung out, had beers, dinner together and stuff. Him and his girlfriend, my wife, we've all gone out. So it's like it is kind of crazy, I guess if you look at the sample size we're dealing with here, though, right? If you walk into a big group of people at a bar or a restaurant, you're not going to have the same percentage of people there that you like as the percentage of people here that you'd like, right?
Right.
we all have something in common here.
Yeah, everybody that shows up to a live stream is there for a similar reason in one way or another. It's not like, even if you're brand new to the stream, you're still there because it's whatever the stream is about you're interested in.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's it. There's like a common interest. There's like an underlying theme that everyone can kind of ride off of. That you don't get that everywhere you go.
No, when you, like you said, walk into a bar and there might be two people in there that have similar interests in you, but you're all there to drink. That's the one commonality you have.
That is the one, that is the one.
What's going on, Justin? Nice to see you, sir. Thanks for stopping in, man.
I'm just here for Nick's mustache. Thanks, Mike.
How long is the mustache?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's get it separated here.
Have you ever done a wax and have it straight out?
You know what's funny? No, I haven't, and I'm dying to. And I'm gonna do it. I definitely want to play with it. And for the longest time, I didn't have a mustache. I kept it short. And
okay.
So, I mean, I've only actually grown the mustache out. Believe it or not, this is only since like 2018, I guess. So, 2019 maybe. I kept it like lip length for quite a while. Because whenever I'd grow it more, it would just start curling over my lip and I'd get it in everything I was eating. And then finally, I just told myself, I'm like, okay, if I let it get long enough, I just got to get it over to the sides and then I'll be good. And since it's got there and I use some balm, and our balm has, balms have some wax and our balm has some wax in it. So I use that to style it. But I'm dying to get like something like that competition mustache wax, ultra hold stuff so I can like actually get it out there. And I'm just going to show up to one of our streams one day with this giant curled mustache out. It'd be fun.
From any experience that I've had, Death Grip wax is like the best out there.
Is that the one?
Death Grip wax is like the best but that's just experience I've had. That's experience that a lot of people that I've seen that use wax for mustache and stuff, that's what they use. My mustache is.
Oh yeah. I think we're like right about the same mustache there, I think.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
But I haven't trimmed mine in a little over a year.
Have you waxed yours up to get it to like go all the way straight, or like?
I've done it one time where I had it straight out when I bought a wax, and I hated it.
What
it was
didn't you like? So what makes a bad wax?
No, I didn't like the look. I didn't like having the wax in the mustache, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I bet it feels strange too, doesn't it?
Have you ever had like a balm or something like in your beard, maybe even if it was just a little bit shorter, like my length or something? Have you ever had a pretty heavy balm and every time you move, you can feel your beard move?
Yeah, actually I have.
Yeah, so picture that in your mustache on your top lip every time you even talk.
Oh, it pulls it kind of pulls your lip. Like you move your lip one way and like the other side of it moves with it.
Yep.
You're like Elvising yourself all the time without even trying. I just asked someone the other day which one they use. Who was it? I forget. They mentioned one. I guess the guy uses it in competitions and stuff and is pretty successful with it. Wonder if I can find it. Wonder what it was called. It was Can You Handle Bar Secondary?
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I've heard of Can You Handle Bar before too.
Yeah.
I kind of say Death Grip because that's one of the more prominent ones that I know of as well. Because I know that like Wes Y and even Tyson from Copper Johns, they have some mustache waxes and stuff as well that are really nice.
Yeah, Jill's been kind of dabbling with one for a while, but the problem is when she comes up with it and we try it, I don't have anything to compare it against. So that's kind of, I guess, one of the things I'm sort of doing too is like I got to have some sort of a barometer of what good and bad is there. It's one of those weird things where we don't have much in our portfolio that like I don't use because most of it's stuff that I made because I needed it back in the day.
Right.
But I guess that's a good and a bad thing. Like there's nothing we sell that I can't personally say I don't use every day, but
right. Yep.
but at the same time, it is kind of a downside sometimes because there are some stuff I want to come out with, and either I don't use it or I don't know what's good and what's bad. So we just kind of table it until we do.
Back burner until you get to it.
Yeah, basically. It's kind of like our standard product development roadmap is people ask for things and we try to fulfill what people want, but if it's not something we can actually do and feel like we're doing it well, we hold off.
You hold it, yeah. I mean, you got to be confident in what you're in it for yourself before you put it out for other people.
Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, when I I had the product, before I had the company because I just needed to make it for myself because I've said it on my stream a bunch is that there's a ton of products out there that I used in the beginning and I loved the scents and, I really liked a lot of things about them, but they had the fragrance oils in them and I just couldn't use them because I'd get the red irritation and flakes and just all sorts of nasty skin stuff. But, I started making what was the basis of what we have now with a guy I know that was super into apothecary stuff in the 70s and kind of helped come up with some original, base blends. And what was interesting is we did it completely outside of the beard community, so it was like, we're not really influenced by much. It was like certain stuff didn't work. I didn't know why. And we kind of set off on a path to figure out what would. And then you merge back in and come back. And it's funny to see all the similarities, between a lot of the bases and the carriers. And, I guess, so anyway, yeah, it's one of those, it's one of those weird things though, where I guess we just don't have much that I don't personally use.
Right. Yeah.
So I want to get some mustache wax using it so I can actually, so back to the point, I want to get some of that in here so I can actually know what's good and what's bad.
Have a testing base of other companies and then figure out your own kind of way to go about it.
Yeah, that's it. How
you doing, Carrie?
It'll be fun.
I'd rather you not do that, please. I don't want to deal with that again.
Yeah, no swatting.
No, please no. I'm here, okay? So that's all you should need.
I'm here, damn it.
Now, all of your scents are all, you had said they're all now I can't think of
oil based.
Essential oils, yes. They're
Yep.
all essential oils.
Yep.
So I know people have kind of downed your oils because they don't last very long. They don't have a very strong presence.
Yeah, if you're looking for a long-lasting oil, like something that's a long-lasting scent, it's definitely not us.
And that's because of the essential oil, because essential oils aren't meant to be, I mean, they're not fragrances. They're not synthetically made to be strong.
Right. Like lime, the oil in a lime, like the citrulline terpenoids in terpenes in a lime, had no intention of lasting a long time exposed to air on someone's skin and face, right? They're naturally, naturally occurring botanicals. So they have a great scent and just like in a essential oil diffuser, right? They evaporate and you have to replenish them. They don't last a super long time. And it's one of those weird things. I guess I was kind of to counter that. I had two options, and that's either go straight unscented, and then everything that we have at Dr. Nick would have just been unscented products, right?
Right.
And the only thing I found that I could tolerate is most essential oils. There's even some of those I can't really tolerate super well. So I'm just a delicate little flower over here,
Have you ever considered like making fragranced stuff? You didn't use it?
So yeah, I have. So and I won't say there won't be a day we don't do that because there's whenever you say that and then you do it, someone's going to come back and find this stream where I said, nope, I'm never going to make anything that I can't use. So
right.
they're going to post it right back on our Instagram. But no, I mean, I do see a possibility of someday there being products that, we put out that I can't use for right now. it's kind of, I don't know, I guess it's kind of part of who we are right now, is that, all the stuff we say, it's live tested on real man grown beards, and I am our live animal test subject. So if it's not something that I can't use and I don't use it, then we won't make it. And what we're kind of finding more and more too is that, I'm not the only one out there. I'm definitely the minority, but we get lots of reviews coming in from people who find us because they say, I went through this and this and this, and I loved this and this about them, but I just can't use them. My skin's too sensitive. Since trying your stuff, I have stuff that has a nice fragrance. I like it when I put it on, and it works and it doesn't bug me. So to stay true to that, I guess, we might not. But at the same time, the demand, could get to the point where it necessitates us doing it, I suppose.
Right. I thought of that question, and I was kind of like, you yourself not being able to, but like having trusted guys that you work with or something to be the testers, stuff like that. But like you said, your identity is based around what you have now.
Yeah. And I guess, I've always been super open with people saying that, like, if it works for me, it'll work for you, because I'm kind of the worst case scenario. And if we sell something, you'll be able to use it and you won't have problems, most likely. Right. Obviously there's the outliers, but there's some people that are the opposite of me and they just don't tolerate essential oils at all. Right. There's that side of it too. But as of right now, part of, I think, Dr. Nick's identity, like you said, is that, they're all things that we make in-house, and I know work because I use them.
Right. Couldn't explain it any better than that, I guess.
No, I mean, and it's funny because, like I say, the product existed before the business did. I never actually set out to make a beard products company. That's the weird part about it, I guess. That was never the intention when I first blended my first carrier oils together. It was never. And even being the capitalist pig that I am in certain parts of my life, right? Like, no part of me actually sat there that day thinking like, ooh, this is going to be a business someday. I mean, it really was out of necessity. And then, of course, found out I wasn't the only one, and started friends and family and other people started opening up a bit about having the same issues. And then after doing some research and found out there was kind of a market for it, of course, that's when it got interesting. And when I had the time to focus on it, it was like, okay, that's kind of what I think I want to do next.
Right. I don't have a follow-up for it. I know everybody here is saying, beard oil isn't meant to be a cologne or as strong as a cologne. And I fucking know that, people. Just saying that there are people out there that don't like certain things because it's not the way they want it, and people tend to down it, I guess you could say.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, it's not the way I like it, so fuck that company or that person or his products or whatever it is may be, because some people are just shitty that way. I understand that. Yes, I've worked with another company before that uses only essential oils, and no, they're not strong, but I really like the product because of the way it feels, and the scent that it does have is really good. I do like it.
Right.
They just like you said, they just don't last very long because they're not meant to. And everybody's saying that they're not meant to be a cologne. I also understand that. That's why a lot of companies now, you are seeing a lot more of the companies do branch out into colognes and spray colognes.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of people that are saying, that are starting to want that, because yes, I'd rather not have to reapply a beard oil or something 3 or 4 times a day just because I want the scent.
No. And I don't think you'd want to anyway, right? You'd want to reapply it if you need the benefit of the oil, but not from the scent aspect. So in that case, get a cologne. And what I'd say to people out there that don't like that like have the attitude that you just, that you were just talking about, is I think there's lots of good options for them out there that aren't us. Right. I mean, if I'm the minority, then that means that there probably is, there's a good bit of people who like what we're doing, the way we're doing it, and why we're doing it. Right. And if you don't, the good news is that the majority of the market doesn't do it this way. And there's lots of other options out there that based on that you'd like, right?
That's as simple of an explanation as you can get. If you don't like it, you don't have to fucking use it. You can
Well,
just move on. You don't have, you know.
Well, and if people making essential oil, beard oils that didn't have long lasting fragrances were the majority of the market, and you had to hunt and peck for the people who used fragrance oils, I'd understand complaining about it, but it's the inverse problem, right?
Yeah.
You have to hunt for people who are doing what we're doing. And so I think it's kind of a niche market in a way, in a sense. And, you know, I don't think I have too much of a problem with that.
And I mean, if it works, it works. I mean,
yeah,
it's plain and simple in that sense. And this is another one of those that I was talking to you earlier.
Oh yeah,
growth serum stuff.
Yeah, it's looking like hard July is the date. I was shooting for late June, but we have a lot of it steeping. You know, we with the samples that we did, we sent a lot of that out. Had some great responses. Mike, with your because of the purity oil in there, with all the beta carotene in it, which is awesome for your skin. With your white beard, did you throw in the chat? I don't know if I missed out on getting a sample. Oh, okay, so never mind. You didn't get a sample. With a white beard, you definitely want to focus on the skin, because the beardy oil that's in there with certain people has definitely tinted, you know, until they wash it out, tinted the, you know, the white beard. People usually use it at night and you shower in the morning, so it's not a huge deal. But it's a crazy cool carrier oil because it's super rich in, you know, beta carotene and all sorts of stuff, right? But beta carotene is what makes carrots orange, right? So the oil does have an orange tint to it. But yep, we're looking at July. People have been loving it from the samples, though.
Okay, so for me personally, I did a video on this too. Even the term growth serum, I really dislike that term.
Because, you know, we were thinking about growth stimulator, or, you know, something like that. Like I wanted to do something more like follicle stimulator, because that's what it is with peppermint oil, right? It's not a magical growth serum, right? But I mean, it's, you know, the peppermint oil and rosemary stimulate follicles.
And I mean, it's just me, because to me, in my personal thought, the only thing that really helps, you know, I went into it about how, you know, guys that have troubles growing certain spots in their beard, or they have a trouble with it, period. Marketing from some companies that put in growth serum, it's purely a market plan with a placebo bullshit product.
Oh, 1,000%. I hate the way some of this stuff is marketed.
Yes. And so when I see growth serum or growth accelerator or plain old, this will grow your beard thick and full and it'll take care of all your problems, I have a real hard time when I see that to be like, to not look at you and be like, you're so full of shit. It's a money grab kind of thing, you know?
Oh, 1,000%. That's why, honestly, we were so resistant to it for so long. And then we were literally getting people sending us like research saying like, well, you use all essential oil, so I'd love it if you guys made one. And look, like peppermint and this and that. So we ended up doing a ton of our own research. Jill did a bunch. And there's a lot of stuff you're not going to make it where, like, if you're not genetically disposed to growing a beard, it's not going to make you grow one. Right. If you have, you know, damage to parts of your skin, it's not going to, and they're dead hair follicles, you're not going to bring them back to life, which is why I really, you know, I almost went with like Folastim, you know, something that literally didn't say anything about like growth in the name, because I didn't want that in the name, really. I mean, it's the result of clarifying your hair follicles can result in better hair growth. But is it going to make you grow hair where you don't, or make you grow hair if you're not disposed to doing it? No. Right. So I mean, like, I'm right there with you. I don't like the lipstick that they've put on it, and it's like you see like the then and now photos that are complete BS. You know, I don't. And it's like, 4 weeks later, and it's like the guy's got, you know, a huge beard and a 6-pack. You know, and it's like, okay, come on.
Sure. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes, I know, Carrie. It is
To
a hard
answer-
pill to apply.
Well, to answer that last question of how do you apply it, and so Jill actually came up with a really good idea, because the thought is that it's for the skin, right? You're not going to take a growth focused oil, like a growth stimulator, if we want to call it that. And you're not going to just put it through your hair, right? It's not for your hair, it's for your skin. So she actually, to drive that point home, included little spoolies, like little mascara brushes with the samples.
Okay.
And it was to brush it onto your skin through the hair and get it like onto the skin.
Onto the skin. Yep.
Yeah. And the idea behind the peppermint really is to clarify the pores and to clarify the follicle so that, you can help it. But, oh, yep, there you go. It's not going to give you the unibrow, not going to do it. I'm sorry, Mike.
Oh, good way to put it, I guess. Ah,
Mike's a good dude. Growth.
Some of you guys
some of
in your
that down
comments.
south. Be looking like Borat in like 3 weeks.
Oh, some of you guys in your comments.
To make you grow taller. This is perfect. Yeah, don't drink it.
Oh, I take it Wiley must have got. I'm guessing he must have got a sample for it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So like Jill wants to actually in one. We're not going to have it for launch, unfortunately, but we've been looking for bottles that actually have like the little spoolie built into the cap, actually like a mascara
Like a
bottle, but in
drop,
a glass
yeah.
bottle. So like instead of a pipette, you have that.
Huh.
That'd be pretty cool, just to like get it onto the skin. I've been using it around the hairline and on like the side of the mustache area, just to kind of like see if it helps define the little wispies that are there. Yeah.
Yep.
And I will say, if you have like some light wispy hairs, peppermint oil does make it to where after a couple of months, those hairs do get a little thicker. So, I mean, there is something to it. I had never used one before. People just like were demanding we make one. And then I'm like, okay, fine. Well, I'll try it. And if I like it, I think it works, then we'll see.
Okay. I mean, I don't really grow anything on my cheek. I got my jawline is like right here. So,
yeah. Okay. So you come like right off the earlobe almost.
Yep. So I don't really grow anything on my cheek line, as you can see. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, it's always just been a personal belief to where I had it in my head that I don't believe in that shit. But
Well, and
maybe
I'd
I
say
should
for
actually
you-
test it.
Well, I don't know, because for you, like you're saying you don't grow hair there. I don't think it'll make you grow hair where you don't. Like
Right.
if you were saying that like you have a really good line on this side, but over on this side it like dips down a little here, but it's like wispy and it's kind of there, but kind of not. I'd say it could help fill it in. But like if someone wrote to us and say, hey, I saw your growth stimulator online, I was wondering if I can bring my neckline down further or bring my cheek line up higher. I'd say, yeah, probably not.
No,
Like,
that
it's,
ain't gonna work. Yeah.
No, and like I say, I'm honest and open to a fault with most stuff, and so it's like the worst businessman in history, because someone will come with a buying question like, I have this problem, and will this product do this? And most people are like, yes. And I'm like, no, probably not.
not gonna blow smoke up your ass.
Not gonna take your money.
Have a good
Later,
night, Braden.
Braden.
Thanks for stopping in, man.
Have a good one, bud.
How you doing, Daryl? Good to see you in here, sir. He calls it chrome.
Chrome. Ooh, I like it.
It's an interesting way to put it, I suppose.
I like it.
It's a silver fox. Silver fox, I call mine the skunk tail. I mean, women seem to find the gray in the beard to be sexier and more distinguished. I know my wife keeps telling me, she's like, I cannot wait, because right here there are two strips that I know are going to turn gray.
Yeah, it's those two light strips in the middle where they're like a little lighter, little reddish.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen right here on me first, maybe.
So she's like, I cannot wait.
I think it's weird because mine's way darker underneath.
Yep.
It's like a totally different color, but like I'm starting to get a couple of them, and I can find them. I think I have one for each letter in my son's name.
So now, how how I had talked about how I hadn't really heard of you until, like you said, you started in 2015 with
Yeah.
the beard community or beard stuff.
Yeah.
I hadn't really heard about Amazing Man stuff until about 2020, 2021. And I had seen, do you think a lot of your popularity that has come out lately is because of being so closely working with Dan C and how big of a forefront man he is in this community?
Oh yeah. I mean, 1,000%. So what I would say is that the business, from the business side of it, if you look at the numbers, right, I'd say like on a spreadsheet, what we have now is from the beard community and things that we've seen from social media and stuff we've seen from YouTube has now caught up to where we were with like our brick and mortar business and the traditional retail wholesale, business that we had with barber shops and, people that we had, retail relationships with, throughout the country. But as far as the popularity in this community and like from YouTube and on Instagram, things like that, we hardly did any social media before, and we never did anything on YouTube. And I honestly, it sounds super ignorant. I didn't know there was such a well-developed beard community on YouTube and out there on social media until 2019, 2020. And so it was kind of an interesting thing, I guess, is that if you're in this space, right, if you're part of this community, and then when people come into it that are new and they gain popularity, they say, wow, this is like new popularity, and here's who they're working with to get it. But what's not apparent, I guess, is what is happening with the company outside of that community before they join it, right?
Right.
And so we're still doing exactly what we were doing before we ever became a part of this community since 2015, and then more recently since 2019 with some extra gas behind it. But as far as that's concerned, 1,000%, we didn't do any social media really heavily until 2022, last year, when we started working with Dan.
Right.
So we did one of his live streams and we started working with him and said, hey, like it'd be cool if we did a live stream together and kind of did this to help get us out there in the community and this and that. And, I think there's two things that can happen there. You'll get someone that was outside of this first, and then they came into it and they try to take advantage of the community that's here. Right. And I think, if I was going to toot my own horn for a second, even though we're new to this space and kind of new to the community, I think we've done right by the community, right? We've gone above and beyond to make sure we take really good care of people, and that we make sure everyone's satisfied. We go well past that money back guarantee, where we work with people to find exactly what they want and make sure they like what they have. And even after trying multiple times, if they don't, we give them their money back, right? So I think, have like absorbed what the vibe is here and really tried to embody it, even though we're new. But yeah, I mean, 1,000%. When someone says like, oh, these guys only have any views on YouTube because of Dan, well, you're 1,000% right.
So you think any of it has led to any like overhype of the company?
So it's such a weird term because, like, I think the hype that we've created, if you want to call it that, is actually fairly honest about what we believe our products are, right? And so I don't think there's many people who have bought in because they, that have quote unquote bought into the hype, that have then been disappointed and thought like, oh, I bought into a hype machine. Like,
right.
But like when we were talking before, one of the things that I actually found a while back going through our reviews, if I go into our review system and I search for the word hype, I have 82 reviews that pop up that all start something like this one. That's like, I hate to go against the public enemy, but for Dr. Nix, you have to believe the hype. Like, I was reluctant at first because I thought it was hype, and I couldn't have been more wrong. And then there's another one here. I was leery at first because of all the hype, and I'm so glad I tried it anyway. It's the only oil I use most days. So it's like there's a lot of people I feel like, and I didn't even know that was like a barrier of entry for us, right? Like I started reading these reviews and I see people like, I was reluctant, but I was hesitant, but, and it's actually like 6 months ago, I started drilling into it. I was like, well, what about us did make you hesitant? Like, what about you did make you question it? Like, why, what about us was a deterrent? And oddly enough, a common phrase was the hype. People were just like, there's too much buzz about it. It must not be true.
Right. I mean, it's nothing against Dan. I like Dan. I enjoy his content. He does what he does. He does it very well and whatnot, but he has a stigma that surrounds him in that sense. Because of how popular he is, there's a lot of times where there are people in the community that are haters, basically. Anytime he works with or anything like that with any company, there are people that automatically, just because he puts his stamp of approval, so to say, on it, well, I'm not going to buy that because Dan says it, it's good, so it's probably shit, because a lot of people believe that he gets paid to say the stuff he's like the top, if not second top to Scuba, I guess, reviewer in the whole YouTube beard world game. Right.
So it's funny. So I can speak from my experience, right?
Yep.
And I can speak that when we first reached out to Dan and asked him to review our products, for example, I actually thought that's what it was based on the person who referred us to him and some stuff I watched. I figured that just must be the case, right? So I was like, well, how much does it cost to do blah, and how much does this and this and this? He's like, no. He's like, send me your stuff. If I like it, he's like, if you want me to do a review, send me your stuff. And he's like, just know that if I like it or not, if I feel like doing a review, I will. And it's not always going to be a positive one, and you can't pay for a positive one. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's how this world works. And keep in mind, this is the first influencer I'd ever worked with ever for anything. And so, we kind of got that. He liked it. He did a positive review, which was awesome. So fast forward though to Dan and I working together all the time. Him and I talk on an almost daily basis, if not multiple times a day. And so like him and I just gossip back and forth. We talk about stuff, and he reads me the stories and he reads me the messages sometimes from companies that are trying to get him to do a review, or they're trying to pay him for a positive review. And I will say, like, being completely honest, personal friends with Dan, I know about more opportunities he's turned down than ones he's accepted. Because he just either didn't see value in him, didn't believe in the company, didn't like the messaging, didn't like what they were all about. Like, on a moral perspective, he actually really does kind of look into seeing like if he actually believes in the company he's talking about. Like, if he's going to talk about someone positively or work with them, you have to share some common ground with him somewhere, and he's got to like what you do. So, I mean, believe it or not, yeah, I mean, I have definitely seen the guy turn down more than he hasn't.
And I believe that. I've had him on the show. Him and I sat and talked for almost 2 hours. I enjoyed him, and it's just the reality of that in this beard world. The darker side of it is he has that stigma about him that surrounds him just because of his popularity.
I can see that.
The amount of hate that he gets on top of, around the positivity that he has. You can't have one without the other. And the bigger you are, the more of each there is.
For sure. And then people only see what you're broadcasting too. You know what I mean? And that's the other thing, is that I feel like people, you definitely know someone's persona, right? Because you watch them enough. But even after watching a bunch of his things before working together more closely, Dan and I have become really good friends. He's one of those rare people that I've met in life that I feel like I can actually go back and forth with pretty openly, without worrying about, hurt feelings, and he can kind of do the same back and forth.
Right.
And he's a straight up dude. You know, you don't have to wonder what he's thinking about you when you're talking to him, or wonder if he's just sugarcoating something that you're saying, because he tells me he doesn't like some of my ideas more than he tells me that he likes them. And you know, it's like we'll go back and forth about stuff, and like I'm shooting his side of things down, he's shooting mine down, and at the end of it all, we're like, all right, that was good. I feel like we really got a lot of good stuff done here today. You know, but it's like we're both like zero time for bullshit, and we don't have much of a filter. And when he's off camera, you know, he has zero filter when he's talking to me. And so like my personal experience with him has just been, you know, nothing but very positive. Like if I could work with him more, I would, you know. But I feel like he's got such a good platform. You know, I could never hold him captive as part of a brand, you know. And it's almost a shame, right? Because I'd love to have him do more than what he even does now. Like we work together so well. I feel like we'd have a really well-oiled marketing machine and everything else if Dan was, you know, a captive part of our team. But you know, we will take as much as we can get, because we just really like working with him. And if that causes some people to think that like we're, you know, paying him off to say what he says, or that it's like a funded hype machine or something, well, I guess that's just the risk of forming those types of relationships.
Well, unfortunately, that is going to happen too. That's what sucks. And,
you're going to have it.
Yeah, you're going to have it. You know, like Russ, with you saying this here, there's always going to be, there always will be, no matter what. There's probably some in here watching tonight.
Oh,
they
yeah.
just sit and lurk and sit in the shadows. I mean, and it's fine. I don't give a fuck about.
They're definitely in mine. They're probably in yours. You know, somehow we ruffled some feathers early on doing what we're doing, and we have just a few people where we have a special place in their mind. You know, so things will come out right after our stream on their Instagrams about stuff that we say and things like that. And I'm just like, you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is. You know, it's, you just pay no mind to it. Sometimes I only bring it up because I want to know from the horse's mouth what your opinion on stuff is.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's why I'm here, right? It's one of those things. It's like I want to get that stuff out there, you know. Right. And if people have questions about that, the funny thing is, I think a lot of people are super guarded, and I just don't have time for it. So like if people actually had a burning question, they could literally hit me up an email and ask for a Skype call and ask me anything they want. And I would give them the 15 minutes, a half hour they wanted to go over it and answer any question they have. And they might walk away being like, huh, I was wrong. He's actually a pretty decent dude. And that's good. Or they could walk away saying, yeah, absolutely don't like that guy. And you know what? It's either one of those directions was a result of me being transparent, then I'm happy.
It's going to be the latter the majority of the time, because in this day and age, nobody's wrong.
No.
The fuck if I'm wrong. I don't give a shit that you just pointed out every single flaw in anything I've said. You're still wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I'm right. You know, very few and far between can you find people that will actually admit when they're wrong.
Because it takes balls. It does.
It does.
It takes a certain level of confidence to admit when you're wrong. No, but I'm used to haters. I mean, I spent my whole career before this putting Russian ransomware hackers out of business. All those guys don't like me.
You have to excuse my internet. I think I'm busting up here a little bit. I have to deal with, I have 15 meg shit internet out here in the middle of nowhere. So,
dude, it's a miracle it works at all, you know? Knowing how the underbelly of this mess works, I can safely say that every day I wake up and it's still here, I'm shocked.
Yeah, I suppose I know the very, very, very thin surface level of what you probably know.
Oh, it's bad. Well, and it's nothing good. It's evidence of a misspent youth is the reason why I know those things. I should know what grass smells like and not be allergic to it. But no, I know exactly how the internet works and how to do just about anything with it.
Oh, that's funny. Well, we love you too, E-Beard. E-Beard.
That we do.
So since we're in the realm, you say that all your products are made in-house, right?
Yep.
They're all made there. Now, I've heard like when it comes to like shampoos, like beard shampoos or washes or conditioners, you can't technically make it in your shop because of certain regulations or shit like that. Is if you claim to make everything in-house, how does that work?
Yeah. So we've been, ever since we started in 2015, we've literally started with separate raw ingredients for every single thing we make. And it's the reason we didn't have shower products for a long time, because we weren't a soap facility, right?
Right.
On top of that, right, you really do need to, if you're making it at scale, right, and you're not making bar soap, right? Bar soap is something that we could produce here, but again, we fall back to the I don't use bar soap. I don't like it. And so I use body wash. And for the longest time, we didn't make it because it's not something that we wanted to journey off into making in-house. We didn't have the equipment for it to make it at scale. You know, we didn't have 50-gallon drums that were jacketed that would heat up and allow for hot and cold processed soaps. It just wasn't something we could do. So eventually, once the demand got there, and to anyone who's questioning this too, we have a live stream about it. When we launched our shower products, you know, we were pretty transparent that we worked with a partner who makes who makes bulk all natural soaps. The cool part is this. So the supplier that we get all of our raw oils from for our beard oil, our butters, and we have probably about 6 suppliers for various things, but the one that we use for the bulk of our carrier oils, they started working and they turned us on to a formulator that buys our same exact oils that we use in our products, and they formulate soaps, and they make them all by hand, and they make them all in-house. And so it's a small team. I think it's 10 people. And they custom formulate soaps for companies who have other product lines.
Right.
And so we were super transparent about it on the stream. We worked with them to basically create the base for a lot of our washes and conditioner. And then we do all of our own blending. And we blend in our essential oil profiles ourselves. We bottle it all ourselves. We, label it, bottle it, pack it, add scents, all those things. But we just weren't set up to be a soap facility. And when we launched it, that's literally what we said when we launched it. It's like by popular demand, we're working with a partner to bring in bulk, all natural soaps that actually use our same carrier oils from our same supplier. It's made by a small 10-person team. And then we handle the rest of the production process with it.
Okay.
So that's the only exception, even down to the butter. So like the butter was one that we thought we'd never be able to do, but we eventually made the investment in equipment, and we got some pretty substantial equipment to make butter right. I mean, if you look between the jacketed heaters, the freezers, fridges, I mean, everything else that goes into the process, there's like 15 grand worth of equipment just to make our butter. And we now use that same equipment to make our balm sticks. So it kind of paid off.
Right.
But the butter was one that we knew that it wasn't a soap. It wasn't something that was specialty that we couldn't make in-house. It's just that we weren't scaled up enough to do it. So we waited a real long time. But that one, I mean, just to do that at scale and do it right, I think most people, that produce that sell butter, either they have wax in it, so it makes it real easy to make it in-house, or if they're going wax free, I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot out there that make it in-house and at least cure it and do the whole process in-house. Right.
Okay.
So that was one that we thought we were either not going to be able to make or would have to work with someone for, but we didn't. So that was good.
Okay. Because your butter, that's my nighttime butter.
Dude, I mean, I love it. And it is 1000% Jill's baby. I mean, she's the one that came up with the idea of using aloe butter in it, in the sal butter. Those 2 ingredients aren't really in any other butter out there. And so when we talk about like people using our butter for burn cream and stuff like that, and people are like, well, you can use any butter for burn cream. Sure, you could. The reason ours works so damn well for it is it has aloe butter in it. And that's just what you would normally put on a burn. We've had just, between people's pets and people's skin and other stuff beyond just the beard. So we've had awesome feedback on it. And Jill's just so proud of it because it was literally just the result of months and months of research and trial and error in small batches and just killing herself to make this stuff.
I mean, the butter is fucking fantastic. So hats off to Jill.
Yeah, thank you. I'll pass it along for sure. I mean, I'm so proud of what she made with that. Like it's, between the balm stick, and which is a collaboration between the two of us. And I came up with we worked together. We always had the desire of making it into something that you could apply right out of the container. And so the stick was kind of born. But between the two of those, I think, especially the butter though, I mean, I think it's like it's my favorite product we make, as far as just a benefit perspective.
No.
I think it's truly unique.
The only other company that I have ever heard of having a balm stick is a real small one-man team company called Wandering Sheep Beard Co.
Okay.
The first time
a stick applicator kind of thing.
Stick applicator. It's kind of like, I have it down there somewhere. He sent me a couple of them, but yeah, it's like a push top or push from the bottom, and it pops up.
Yep. I almost went with one of those for the paper tubes. It was like a really thick cardboard, and you could push it from the bottom like a popsicle, like an
old push pop.
Like an old push pop. Yeah.
Yep. That's the way his are.
I like that because of the paper.
Yep. I got those from him probably 2 years ago. It was like his claim to fame, but I know he still makes products, but he stays real small with his stuff. Yeah.
Well, no, I love the idea of I love the stick. I mean, it's awesome. I use it on my mustache. So I just literally go like straight through.
Yep. I appreciate that, Walter. I mean, I just like to give my honest opinion, and I don't care if I hurt other people's feelings.
Well, and Dan, I mean, his comment right there actually obviously speaks pretty loudly to what we talk about too with transparency.
Yeah.
Dan kind of coined the term long form transparency, where we go out of our way to do it. So, Walter, to your point, Dan, don't want to give away any of your secret sauce here, but I also don't care if I piss people off. Before the show, and Dan can probably, he'll tell you guys this is true. Before the show, he asked me, hey, is there anything you don't want to talk about? And he kind of says, hey, I got a couple of tough ones, this, and this, like, is this okay? And I said, dude, like I told you, I'm an open book. Like, just like when I'm talking to you personally is the same way I'll talk here on a live stream. So I literally told him there was no limits. Ask me whatever, and I'm perfectly happy to be open and honest about anything you ask me.
Which is the exact type person that I like to talk to. So,
well, yeah. I mean, why do you want to get into an open conversation with rules? That's not an open conversation.
Oh, that is very true. Now, let's move on from the beard shit. Dan told me that you're really into heavy metal.
I am. Yeah. I mean, actually, we just got our tickets to Blue Ridge.
So now, anytime that I talk to somebody that says they're also into metal, I like to see what their version of metal is. Because if you tell me like Slipknot and Mudvayne, I'm going to laugh at you.
Do you want to do like the ultimate test? Do you want to? So when you use Spotify for all your music, it creates you daily mixes of like your most listened to stuff, right?
Well, see, I don't use Spotify. I use YouTube Music. And that does it has like this thing called like my super mix. So it's probably around the same.
It kind of is, but it kind of bakes it in. So like if you listen to some embarrassing shit, it's going to make more of it. So like you can't really hide it. So let me just pull up my daily mix from today, and we'll just see what kind of metal I'm into today. I'll give us the top 10 bands on the list here. So today it has my oh God, yeah, I did listen to these all week. It has cattle decapitation, lamb of God, pig destroyer, goat whore, cryptopsy, dying fetus, cannibal corpse, deceit birth, agoraphobic nosebleed, behemoth, and arch spire.
Okay. You passed the test on that.
Oh, and cannabis corpse. Not cannibal corpse.
Cannabis corpse.
Which is Brent, by the way, that's Brent Purgason from Guar's other band, for those of you who don't know that.
That I did not know.
Factoids.
See, this is one of those things that if he would have said Five Finger Death Punch, I would have hit the X.
Bullet for my Valentine. Yeah. Like, or whatever. Yeah. Oh, God. So, like, oh, you know who I've been listening to like nonstop lately, though? Is so one of these got me into the other. You ever listen to Johnny Booth from the Bronx?
Yes, I've listened to Johnny Booth. I recently found them, actually, though.
He was kind of new for me, too. I probably only like the past year. Well, from that, I found this band called Incendiary. You ever listen to them?
No, that's a new one for me.
Check out Incendiary, dude. They are awesome. I've been listening to the crap out of that. And that kind of got me into a couple others. Like it brought me back into Knocked Loose, which was awesome.
I'm not a huge fan of Knocked Loose, actually.
Their new stuff is good. I'm not a big fan of their old stuff either.
Okay. Because I usually with a band, if I don't like them, like some of their older stuff, I don't like them. I don't even give them a chance.
So I totally get it. I think what was their new album called? It's called Laugh Tracks. No, sorry. A Tear in the Fabric of Life is the new one from 2021, and it's really good.
Okay.
They basically like what the song that got me is it's like this audio track, and it sounds like someone finding their keys and getting into their car, and they turn on the ignition and the radio starts playing, and it sounds like old AM radio, like Christmas carol-y kind of music.
Okay.
And you hear them drive off, and then all of a sudden you hear tires screeching and broken glass, and the sound of the accident breaks into the drum beat in the beginning of the song. And I was like, holy shit, that's just so brutal. Like, I need to what is this?
See, like I'll give that a shot. I haven't really listened to much Knocked Loose, but like a lot of what I listen to is like what I tagged in for the show, like Signs of the Storm.
Oh yeah,
shit like that. You know, The Art is Murder.
Yep.
I recently found out that there is such a genre called samplecore.
Is that like when they use lots of oh wow, okay.
They use like samples of movies, video games, all kinds of shit like that, and I found it through a band called the John Candy.
Okay.
And I have been
John Candy. Names like that always make me think of like the Tony Danza tap dance extravaganza.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
I have been listening to it non-stop because it is just fucking fantastic. I never knew the genre existed. I had heard bands use certain samples here and there for some songs, but not like a whole genre. Like,
so you know who did that though? What's weird is so like that's been going on for a long ass time though. Like look at like Cryptopsy.
Yeah. See, the John Candy has albums all the way back to 2005.
Wow. Okay. So this has been going on a while.
Yeah. I had no idea. So Carrie knows who the John Candy is. I mean, they just released a new song not too long ago, like the Wand, and the Stone or something like that. And they have a sample in there from Careless Whisper.
Okay.
And it is hilarious. It's awesome and it's heavy, but at the same time they throw you off with that shit.
What was that song? Was it a Cryptopsy song where they had like the speech from Planet of the Apes?
Could be.
But I think that was Cryptopsy. Who was that? Oh God, I gotta figure out who that was. It's gonna drive me nuts. I'm pretty sure I think it was 10-Pound Torch or no, what was that? Oh no, who am I thinking of? That wasn't Cryptopsy. I got to figure that out. You're going to get a random Instagram message from me. It's like, I remember.
I remember it's this one.
Yeah.
Well, they're the only one that I can think of that did a cover of George Michael's Careless Whisper. But there's a sample of it in that John Candy song, and it is just hilarious. And there's a song called The Bio Exorcist that they did, where it has a bunch of samples from Beetlejuice in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and it's hilarious. Do you know who Humanity's Last Breath is?
No.
That song, like even their guitar tones change through some of their songs. So like the beat, the guitar tone, the drum effect in The Bio Exorcist sounds exactly like Humanity's Last Breath. So I think it's cool what they do. I wish I would have known. I'm going to dig into it more to see if I can find other bands like them.
That's kind of crazy though. I had no idea that someone had given a name to using movie tracks and other like music clips in your intros.
And they mess with the name a little bit. Like there's a song called Ryu the Scorpion. Obviously, you can figure out what that's based from.
Yeah.
There's one called John McClane with a bunch of samples from Die Hard, but they changed McClane to McLane instead of how it's spelled in the movie. How you doing, Hierophant? Thanks for stopping in, man.
What was it? No. I'm gonna find it.
It's driving you nuts now, isn't it?
Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. Yeah. You know what band I was listening to again the other day that just cracks me up, and like once in a while I just need it, and I don't care that I don't like the guy's other band or that he got put in jail for trying to kill his ex-wife, is Austrian Death Machine. Like I was listening to some Austrian Death Machine the other day, dude. And it was just I put on Triple Brutal where they actually got Arnold to be on the album with him, and it wasn't him doing the impressions. And
it was him doing the actual voice.
Oh, it was good. Good.
I remember back in the burning CDs time when I was doing that, I downloaded all the songs to Triple Brutal, and there was one other CD of theirs that I had gotten to, but yeah, it makes me laugh every time.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Like if you don't laugh when you're listening to Austrian Death Machine, you're just, I don't know, there's something wrong with you.
And the graphic art that they use for the CD and stuff, I laugh. It's just too good. And yeah, Tim just he fucked up and got caught.
Yeah. Oh, the band I was thinking of. Got it. Skinless.
Oh, Skinless. I have I think I have Hurdle the Weak, Trample the Dead.
Yeah, Hurdle the Weak, Trample the Dead. Yep.
I have that CD, and I like Skinless quite a bit. Yeah.
Dude, yeah. The Optimist has got to be like my favorite song in there. It's like it's so good. Okay. Yep. Well, now that brain worm is gone, I'm going to be doing much better now. Man.
Yeah, it's when it comes to metal, that's my drug, I guess you could say.
Oh, it's my happy place for sure. Have you seen the lineup this year for Blue Ridge Rockfest?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it looks so good. So we're taking my son's 10, and it's a 4-day festival. 4 stages each day. So we're gonna go 3 of the days: Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The Friday is actually my birthday, so it kind of lined up like perfect. It's like I'm turning 40, and we get to just go 3 days at a metal fest. So we're bringing my son, who's 10, and I'm like, He's ready. He's ready. He'll be fine. Yeah.
I went to my first one at 12, so.
Well, so like Yeah, a concert, a show, was like a show or a metal festival, like a festival.
Mine was a show.
So like he's been to shows and he does really good at shows. Like he saw his first Guar show when he was like 9, I guess, 8, or probably 8. Yeah. He was backstage at our friend's show at Necrogoblicon. You know, have you ever listened to those guys?
No, I've never listened to them.
Oh, check out Necrogoblicon. They're awesome.
What a fucking name.
Oh, it's so it's so good. Like they're fantastic. Like everyone, so people talk about us and hype. They have a goblin that comes out on stage with them. This one of their buddies that dresses up in a goblin costume. And when they got real big and they were playing like Warp Tour and playing other big shows, people started saying like, oh, they're gimmicky, like they need a gimmick. So they came up with a song that's called "We Need a Gimmick," and it's just the song about how, well, they needed a gimmick, and here they are.
You know how many bands ride off of a gimmick?
Oh,
one of the biggest metal bands ever, Slipknot. I mean, what kind of gimmick do they have?
That's a gimmick. Look at Guar. That was a gimmick. Yeah,
Guar was a gimmick. Most bands have a gimmick of some sort.
They started off with Guar, and it once this them being them wasn't shock rocky enough. They came out with the meat grinder, and the meat grinder was their gimmick, and they'd pull people out of the pit and throw them through the grinder, and that was like why people went to their shows.
It's music. Elitist people, fucking stupid.
Oh, dude, mainstream media is it's just so disappointing. Yeah. Yep, you're right. Because metal music has a way less of an agenda than Disney movies do.
My first show, I went to go see Down.
Oh, that's a good first show.
And I was 12. A guy that worked for my parents. My mom and dad owned a bar and grill in our hometown. And a guy that worked for him was going to see him. And he nonchalantly asked my parents, "Do you care if we take Dan along? It's just a music show." Didn't explain to him like what type of show.
It's like, do you know who Phil Anselmo is?
No, neither of them did. I mean, my dad was the old metal or the old rock, like Molly Hatchet, Nazareth, AC/DC.
Yep.
So he might have had an idea.
He's like, yeah, there might be some boobs. He'll be fine.
And so we went to see him at it was the Myth at the time. Now it's like the Quest or something. Or no, it was the Quest. Now it's the Myth. Small venue, not very big. And I remember standing in line, speaking of boobs, and this chick with just huge. I can remember it to this day, wearing like a bandana.
Oh yeah, your first view of concert boobs as a young man, you're never gonna forget it.
And we were standing in line, and we all, there was 3 of us. No, there's 4 of us, and all of us saw her. And as she walked past, the guy that had taken me up there with him, he looks at me and he goes, "That's coming off later." And yeah,
you're like trying to stare at her ticket. You're like, row F, seat 15. I'll see you in 3 hours.
And it was an amazing time. I remember being there. Everything was dark. They had this big, huge, like, screen for like a projector up, and they were playing like the Rolling Stones, and just they're playing music that was basically there to piss the people off.
Yeah.
And we sat there for like 45 minutes listening to this shit, watching like old music videos and stuff of that crap. And I remember the guy that brought me up there, the other 2 that we were with, he's like, "You guys keep him between you 2. I'm little, and so he's like, "You stay between them." And that one guy was behind me, one guy was in front of me, and he was holding onto the guy's shirt in front of me. And I'm kind of like, what the fuck is going on? And then
it broke loose.
Oh yeah, there was one strum hit off the bass, and the curtain started going up, and I remember being shoved forward.
Yeah.
And
You're on the front side of the pit. That's like being on the northern side of a hurricane, you know?
and it was such a great time, and seeing Phil and Vinny. And then it had one guy from Corrosion of Conformity,
Nice.
and I think two guys from Crowbar. And they
The
started
COC
playing.
guys are good dudes.
They started playing Ghosts on the Mississippi, and that's my favorite song from them. And I remember the guy behind me was jumping basically not in unison with the guy in front of me. So as he's jumping, he's pushing me up.
And the guy in front of you is going down.
Yeah, I ended up cracking my nose on the back of that guy's head.
Oh.
And after probably 4 or 5 songs, they were like, okay, we got to get you out of here. And they brought me towards the back of the venue. And we were just sitting there. And we were watching the show because you could still see it perfectly great. I mean, the venue was real nice in that sense, to where it didn't matter where you were sitting or standing. You had a good view.
Had a good slope to it.
And I wasn't exposed to it yet, but I remember being in there and just being like, why does it smell like a skunk in here? And seeing this guy with his shirt off, he looked like somebody straight out of like the first days of Corn. And he's got a labret piercing, but he's got a glow stick sticking out of it like this long, and it's probably like is that big around.
Damn.
I remember it vividly. And he had a blunt like this fucking long. And the guy that brought me up there is trying to explain to me, so this is what
the cigar. You're fine. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a great time.
Dude, that's awesome, man. There's nothing, I don't know. There's something about, like, I did concert photography for so long, just because I liked being at shows so much. I mean, it was literally, I got talked into doing it by some friends, and Dave from Guar gave me my first opportunity to do it, but I got hooked because it wasn't even about the photography so much. It was just an excuse to go to shows. But
right.
It was almost like photography was like the second most important thing about shooting a show. It's just being able to
just had to remember that, I'm here to take pictures. Shit.
That's right. Oops, right. Camera, clicky on it.
Oh yeah, good times. I've been to a handful of shows. I could have went to more that I wish I would have, but I've seen some of my favorite bands. I got to see Lamb of God.
Lamb of God's so good live.
Yeah, I saw
Randy's awesome live.
That was an amazing show. It was them, God Forbid, As I Lay Dying, Children of Bodom.
Yeah.
And there was another smaller
Lexi
band.
Leho was so good, dude. Lexi Leho is just one of the best guitarists out there. He was like one of those metal guitarists that's just I don't know. He left a mark.
Yeah, it was a good show. I wasn't a big fan of As I Lay Dying, but one of the most memorable moments of that show
As I Lay Crying.
Well, that was being put. There was a big screen TV off to the right of the stage, and you could text to that screen and it would show up. There was a number, and there was a lot of hate for As I Lay Dying.
Oh God, I can see it. Yeah.
But one of the most memorable points of that show was in between songs, Tim was like, this is a great show. Everybody's having a great time, but nobody's going as hard as this guy down here. And there was like a fucking 8-year-old kid. And he's like, bring him up here. And he gets this little 8-year-old kid up there, and he's rocking out with them as they're playing their next song.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. I love when bands do that. I mean, that's like you're making a lifelong metal fan when you do that. Like any band who does that, like if anyone out here, metal band people, every time you pull a kid on stage, like you're literally creating, you're perpetuating the metal fans of the future. Like you're fueling tomorrow's fire. That's it.
That kid will have that memory till the day he dies.
Forever. I mean, that's like, Yeah. One of the cooler things I got to do doing photos and then just doing it personally, I ended up going on a couple of those, well, like 4, I think, of those 70,000 tons of metal cruises that were going on for a while. Did you see those?
No.
It was they were 5-day cruises. And you got to look it up and check out some of like the bands. I mean, holy shit. It was like the lineup on these are just insane. And what it is it's a 5-day, 4-night cruise. There is what was it? There was 80 bands and
Holy
each one of them
shit.
played 2 shows. So it was 160 shows over the course of 5 days. Started at 9, 10 in the morning and went till about 3 in the morning. And there was
Holy fuck.
4 stages on the boat. And the crazy part is there's no backstage. So like there's no special place where the bands eat dinner or like or somewhere you can't go. Like they're all in the cruise ship dining room, and like we were sitting there, like we were one table away at one point from Blind Guardian, and then on the other side of us was Corpse Grinder. Like we had Corpse Grinder eating lobster over there, and you had Hansi Kirschner from Blind Guardian sitting over there. I mean, it was like, and then they get some old bands that come out, like, and it's like the lineups were insane. I mean, they were so good, and it's just everyone's there. One year we were on there was 50 different primary languages spoken on the boat. And
holy
like there
shit.
were weird ones. They totaled them all up though. There was like 70 countries worth of people. So like if you look at like real primary languages, there's like 20 languages.
Yeah.
And like you're all getting along because you're all there for,
you're all
metal.
there for the music. Yeah.
You're all there for metal. And like it's just like, it's just such a cool thing.
Mayhem Fest Slipknot when they co-headlined with System of a Down.
That makes sense. That it was probably a huge show with no crowd control. So it was probably they probably had like the mass move pit.
Yeah.
Where like your feet lift up and like you move 6 feet to the right and like you put your feet back down again.
I bet that was crazy. I haven't been to a big, huge show like that. They said I saw, that one was at, that was up at the Rave in Milwaukee, and then I went back to Milwaukee to the Rave to go see Soulfly, Cattle Decapitation, Prong. Oh yeah, that was fucking awesome. And another little band called Municipal Waste.
Well, Municipal Waste is awesome.
They were little at the time.
they're like every song of theirs is just about partying and drinking. Like, they're awesome.
That show was probably the best show I'd ever been to because we got there and everybody's sitting there at the bar kind of waiting to get into the big theater part of it.
Yep.
And in the bar, there's a side stage where this no-name local band was playing. They got done, and we're just all kind of sitting there. There's 3 of us that went, and everybody that's kind of waiting to get into the show, and we're kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Why haven't they opened the doors yet? The show's supposed to start in like fucking 15 minutes.
Right.
And so my buddy and I and his girlfriend that went, we're kind of like, well, let's go stand over here by the stage. Maybe they got another little band that's going to come out, whatever. Municipal Waste comes out. And we're like, what the hell's going on? Well, come to find out, they didn't sell enough tickets for the big amphitheater, so they're going to do the show on this side stage of a bar.
And you're already just standing like right there.
I'm right here, belly up to the stage. We're like, fuck yeah, let's do this. And seeing Soulfly, which has been one of my favorite bands since, Tribal.
Oh, dude. Yeah, they're so good. They were on the 70,000 tons of metal.
And Max Cavalera is one of my favorite, lead men, vocalists ever. I mean, even back when he was with Sepultura.
Oh, yeah. Dude, Sepultura was awesome. He's always been a badass.
Oh, yeah. And he was my buddy's favorite, artist too. And then Prong came out, and seeing them, that was Snap Your Fingers, Snap Your Neck is probably like my all-time favorite Prong song of all time.
Dude, yeah.
And seeing them get to play was like, Oh, it's a history thing.
Oh yeah, it is. Like there was who the hell came out on that boat when we were there, and I was really surprised by it. I'll think of it again in a minute. I pulled it up though, just to give you like an idea. Like one of the years, this was 2015 that I was on it, and you had 70 countries worth of people on the boat. And like just to get like highlights of the list of bands here, like it's actually in alphabetical order, so it's kind of hard to get highlights because there's no big name than little ones.
Oh, right.
But yep, Arch Enemy, Behemoth, Blind Guardian, Cannibal Corpse, Corrosion of Conformity, Destruction. Let's see. Oh, Gamma Bomb.
Gamma Bomb.
Dude, Cataclysm, Lake of Tears, Corporal Clonny, Ailstorm, Origin, Primal Fear, Soulfly, Therion, Trollfest. I mean, like, dude, it was crazy. Like Primal Fear, like banned from overseas in the UK. They never play over here. Oh, and Municipal Waste. And Napalm Death was the one I was trying to think of. That's the one that randomly came out. Like that guy live, I don't even know how he does it. Like that guy jumps like 7 feet in the air while he's singing. He's crazy.
Napalm Death they're an OG, just like Cannibal Corpse. So,
oh, dude, they're so good.
Yes, they are.
So good.
My favorite song of Napalm Death is Carousel. Carousel of. I know it's Carousel of something. Carousel of Punishment.
Yeah, I think you're right. Dude, it's so good. With his high socks. He's got like knee-high white socks on, like jumping around on stage like a weird. That's awesome.
Oh.
Dude, we could do a whole stream just talking about metal.
Just talking about metal. Yes, we could.
We'll just flip the topic for the next one away from beards and we'll just focus on metal.
Oh, yeah, I could sit here and talk about it for
days.
Hours. Days, yeah.
The highlight of, I think, my metal show going career and the highlight of those cruises, I'm not a fan of cruises, by the way, but that's something special.
Right.
Was a hot tub mosh pit for Cannibal Corpse.
Elaborate.
Okay. I knew that was coming. So you got the stage. So what they do is, the big pools they have on like the top deck of a cruise ship, you see in the photos, they float by and you got this big ass pool.
Yep.
Well, what they do on this boat is they cover that whole pool with rigging. And then because you're, at that point, you are 12 stories above the ocean at the top of that deck. So 12 stories up. They take the big masts that you see on the side of a big stage, like in an arena, or like a big, if you have a big concert at like a baseball field, or like a big outdoor one.
Yep, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Big ass riggers. They put those down to the bottom of the pool, and then they put the floor on the surface of the pool. So all the big supports go down to the bottom, and they're supported by the floor, and they go up. So they went up 60 feet in the air above the boat.
Holy shit.
And rigs and all this. So that's where the pool was. So you got to think about what's around a pool at a cruise ship. Well, there's hot tubs. So you got the big stage, you got a big dance floor mosh pit area, and then you got hot tubs, then you got the bar. So what started happening is people are in the hot tub hanging out and there's shows going on, and Cannibal Corpse comes, Cannibal Corpse comes out. And there's Corpse Grinder up there doing his thing. And all of a sudden, people start grabbing the buckets that they were getting their beers in. And they were taking buckets of water and they were scooping them from the hot tubs and dousing the pit with the water. So everyone's moshing in the middle of this floor. They're getting soaking wet from the hot tub water, getting dumped on them from Corona buckets. And then this guy, comes over and he tries to like take the buckets. He's like, you guys can't have projectiles and buckets. They're kind of trying to collect them. And then that just lent one guy jumped on the edge and he was like, he belly flopped into the hot tub and someone thought he was knocking someone else over. So everyone started just circle pitting around in a circle in this hot tub until the water was like a whirlpool. And then the other hot tubs caught on. And then you look around and all it is like 20 people packed in each hot tub, just circle pits inside of each one of them, getting knocked underwater, people getting flung out. It was pure pandemonium. So yeah, hot tub mosh pit Cannibal Corpse had to have been like the highlight of all things metal for me.
That I mean, especially if you got Corpse Grinder up there doing his helicopter, you know.
Dude, he actually stopped between songs and he's like, you know, Corpse Grinder's like, I've never seen any shit like this before. You know, he's like
Oh, yeah, I bet that was a sight to see.
What was funny though is that like I ended up going just back when I smoked cigarettes, and I went back to go smoke a cigarette next to the bar. And there's like these two security guards standing there, and they were pointing at the hot tubs. And I was like, oh boy, here it comes. They're going to tell us there's rules eventually on this boat.
Right.
I hear one of them say to the other one, he's like, so you're saying no more beer for those guys? And he's like, no, not no more beer. Just don't bring it to them in the buckets because they're using it to scoop. Bring them all the beers they want. Just carry them over there. Don't bring them the buckets of beer. So like the only
don't give them the weapon.
Yeah, just keep giving them what they want. Just don't give them the buckets. That's the problem. Not the hot tub moshing. That's fine. It's the buckets.
Oh, good times.
Weird Al. Oh man, Weird Al back in the day at a small venue. That would have been cool.
Well, we are at the 2.5 hour mark. And there's still 19 of you fuckers sitting in here watching.
Yeah, man.
I'm very proud of you. I appreciate you guys.
I'm proud of us for still being here.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. But we're going to conclude the show. Nick, do you have anything that you have coming up that you might want to share with everybody?
Well, we have our weekly live stream next week on Tuesday, and it's not at 1:00 in the afternoon next week. We're doing our once in a while switch to 7 p.m. time slot. So for people who can't make it at 1, now you got a time to watch it at 7 if you can watch it at 7. So we'll be on YouTube live 7:00. That's about it, man. We got just business as usual for us, just trying to keep people happy, saving the world one beard at a time, man.
Good way to put it.
Here we are.
All right. I don't have nothing. I don't do anything special. But I appreciate everybody that came out to hang out with us tonight, listen to us banter and bullshit. I thank you, Nick, for agreeing to come on the show and hang out with me and bullshit for a while.
Well, thanks for having me, man. It was fun.
Yeah. So, with that being said, until the next episode of the Longhouse, thanks everybody. I appreciate y'all.
Be good.